here. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do a Spider-Man Far From Home review. So we've all seen it.
Yes.
Spoilers for Far From Home.
Yeah, right.
Spoilers.
So if you haven't watched it, sorry.
Yeah. Tone out for a little bit. Just go to the song. It's okay. So I thought it was okay. I think Tom Holland has improved in his acting skills. Mm-hmm. His emotional scenes were much better than what we saw. I mean, Homecoming didn't need a whole lot of emotional scenes, but he's definitely upped his ante in that arena. I thought the chemistry between him and his classmates were okay. The MJ character, I mean, I'm okay with the character being how she is, even though it's not necessarily comic book accurate. So I'm okay with that.
In terms of her ethnicity?
Well, no, just in terms of her like, being extremely smart and like don't care.
Kind of nihilistic too.
Yeah, I mean, in the comic book, she wanted to be an actress, and she was like Penny from Big Bang Theory.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And in this, she's more like the smart person who figured out he's Spider-Man and this, that, and the other. So, spoiler: Peter Parker is Spider-Man, by the way. I loved my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. My favorite part of the whole movie was the mid-credit scene where they showed Jonah Jameson.
Dude.
To me, that was the best part. That was the best part.
Yeah.
So, okay, so because Dashton, what were some of your favorite parts?
Well, so Mysterio, everybody guessed it, the bad guy. You look at the trailer and it's like, oh, I bet I know what's going to happen. However, I haven't been mesmerized by a fight sequence like when he first shows the intense boost from getting Edith on his side, the glasses. That CGI was phenomenal to me. Plus, I like trippy things being put to film. And the way that worked out, I was just sitting there wide-eyed, like, this is amazing.
So you like that type of stuff?
I like that a lot.
So did you like Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was alright.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, actually, to me personally, I wasn't as big of a fan. Like, a little bit of it I can handle, but because they did so much and it was just straight CGI, I don't think Tom Holland had any part in those scenes at all. I'd say towards the end of it.
Physically.
The big one towards the end of it. And I'm more of a fan of like what looks like it could be real. But this movie to me was comic book movie. It was a comic booky. And so you're going to get that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I know what I'm getting into when I walk into a theater with this. It's I prepare myself for mindless action.
Sure.
And I got it.
Especially with Mysterio.
Yeah, especially.
Well, it was like when I went to go see John Wick. I didn't expect, some great plot.
Right.
It was just there for blowing up stuff and killing people. So, whatever. I will say this about it. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I got burned out quickly on Mysterio. The character just didn't hold me enough. And honestly, I said this before on the show, before the season really began, and that was that I felt like that they were oversaturating the market. You come off of Endgame, and you go into Spider-Man Far From Home, and there's nothing that's going to live up to that, So there's always still going to be this, like, still high that you're riding on from Endgame, and then you're like, yeah, dude, let's go see Spider-Man. Okay. If they had waited another few months to be able to release this movie, I think I would have enjoyed it even more. I'll probably enjoy this once it hits video, and I'm sitting at home 5-6 months from now, and I go to watch it again, and I'll probably be like, oh yeah, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was, kind of thing. But it's.
What were some of your favorite parts of the movie?
I can't honestly say that I really thoroughly enjoyed it to that point to say that I had favorite parts. I have more criticisms, where.
Well, you normally have more. We have not done a movie review where you didn't have.
I do. I know. I'm just a negative Nelly.
Sean's the critic.
The dumbing down of Nick Fury.
Yeah, that irritated
and then of course
me again.
we kind of find out why.
Well, no. The end part, the very post-credit scene.
Yeah.
That was more dumbed down than the Nick Fury. The Nick Fury in the movie felt like the regular Nick Fury.
Well, except that he didn't already figure out that there wasn't this guy from an alternate Earth. I mean, come on.
Or is there an alternate Earth? That's the question.
Well, and that's just it. He didn't question anything.
Yeah.
You know, this is Nick Fury. Come on, he's more of a skeptical than I am. So anyway,
He probably hated Endgame.
It was you know, so there was that. I don't know. There was a bit more romance in it than I normally kind of care for in my action movies. It wasn't too much, such that it was, you know, like the whole Spider-Man hanging upside down kiss scene from, you know, the original Tobey Maguire thing. But, you know, it was just alright. Yeah.
I did really love whenever they paid homage to all the old films, like Spider-Man with the makeshift shield. Mm-hmm. And you had that thing that looked like it could have been Mjolnir, you know, in a way. Yeah. To me, I love that scene, or that part, not the full scene, but...
And it was a callback to how Tony would improvise in Iron Man 3, because he was basically without his suit that whole time. You know?
Mm-hmm. Back in Black.
Yes, that was fantastic.
I clapped in the movie theater.
Led Zeppelin, man.
Oh god,
it was like what? Well, see, and then the whole Star Wars reference. You know, well, you'd understand if it was Star Wars, but wait a minute, wasn't he just like totally like there was this really old movie back in Civil War? Right. You know, Spider-Man's like, yeah, there was this really old movie where these like tall walking creatures. Dude, if he was the Star Wars fan, he would say, yeah, Empire Strikes Back, AT-ATs, right?
Well, and especially with the part in Homecoming when they're like, dude, we could build the Death Star. He's like, oh!
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, there's just no consistency there.
It's a comic book. I told you, man. Yeah. I do think, I'm trying to think if there's any last second things. Yeah, so obviously, you know, the Skrulls being on Earth, that's kind of a big lead into understanding, okay, we're going to go to Secret Invasion. The next big Infinity War is going to be Secret Invasion. They didn't clearly explain whether or not there is a multiverse, even though I think, you know, 99% of Marvel fans believe there is, and probably thinks this does say it in a way, even though the trailers talked more about it than the actual film. Mm-hmm. This is another situation where there were more trailer scenes cut out of the film than there were actually in the film from the trailer. So yeah, the May, and I like the May character. You know, it's more like the big sister, but I'm okay with it, and not just because. I was going to say not just because of that, but the character, like the way she interacts with Peter, is pretty cool, and yeah, I'm okay.
And that she's Happy's love interest.
Yeah, I mean that part to me,
or dating, but not what.
Whatever that was.
Yeah, that was okay with me. It really didn't make or break anything for me. But yeah, so I guess that's I'll tell you what, I was thinking about it earlier, Sean. I think how we should start rating movies instead of stars. You know how like the more interesting a story sells in comic books, they create more issues. Mm-hmm. I think we should do a 5-issue rating. Just to fit with the comic book thing. So it's like one issue is bad.
3
and
issues.
Then 3 issues is okay. So you got 3 issues?
3 issues.
Okay, I'd say 3.5. What you got?
Probably 3. I'm a little bit harsher. Okay.
A bit harsher?
Yeah, my 5s are...
Oh, yeah.
Name a 5, just so we have a reference.
Winter Soldier, as far as comic books go.
Yeah.
We had a guy on our last episode who said that was part of his worst 5.
He's crazy.
You're right? That's what I'm saying.
Jason, you hear that? Okay, alright.
Well,
so that's...
I know my least favorite part of this movie.
Okay.
The exposition scene after he has the bar disappear. I haven't been, like, spoon-fed a plot,
right?
I think, ever like that. That was way too much at once. The good thing is Jake Gyllenhaal looked like he was having a blast acting that out.
Yeah.
And it might be the only reason I accepted it, but it totally broke my immersion. Like, I knew it was coming. The moment Peter was like, oh, this note, I think he means for me to give the glasses to someone else. I was like, oh, well, I can't wait to see what happens in the next 3 minutes.
Oh, by the way, even, what was it, Even Dead... I'm the hero.
That was great. Great acronym.
That was fantastic. All Star. I love that part, man. I do wish there might have been a little something different, but eventually you just got to cut it.
Right.
You just got to cut. You can't afford Robert Downey Jr.
I really hated the blatantness of that exposition, but I liked the subtlety of May throwing the banana at him, it hitting his face to show us that his spidey sense is gone because he's too distracted.
Right.
And the fact that they didn't nail us in the head with, oh, my spidey sense is gone, that's why I couldn't figure out how to deal with the illusions and the projections.
Right.
And eventually it gets revealed that that's, what it was. And I was like, I wasn't even thinking about that. That was subtle. I liked it. So, hard, blatant thing I hated, good, subtle thing I loved.
Right. That's a good point.
Or, I think probably the Peter Tingle is
right.
It's a much better term.
Right.
All right. That's our Spider-Man Far From Home review.